Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 118 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
I'm so ready to end this book.
And this episode is sponsored by Hannah Lee. Thank you, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah. She's my basketball buddy. We talk.
Okay. I was like, you play basketball?
I thought you were going to say she's my basketball coach, and I was like...
You play like at the
what?
YMCA?
I was going to get so confused.
No, we talk about the Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Hannah, losers? What?
You're
broken
cool.
hand?
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh, that is not kind.
I mean, I'm not saying
We're gonna
anything that's
move
not
forward.
true.
Wait,
That's-
Hannah's cool because she's a palindrome.
Oh, yeah, Hannah. Backwards, forwards. Got it. I get it.
Oh, I was like, who does what now? Okay. Yeah. So today we will be discussing chapter 37 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Sorry, that was very loud. I am ready to end this book, apparently. I just threw the goblet down.
I didn't even hear it, but all right. The chapter title is The Beginning, the
Which is
last chapter.
Because it's the end.
Well, it's the end of this, but it's the beginning of all the dark stuff, you know?
One door closes and another one opens. So make sure you've read the chapter and you're ready to levicorpus your way into the details. Before we begin, Meg's Mouse Tales has weekly profit news.
I do. So this is kind of exciting because we actually did learn this at LeakyCon thanks to Dan Fogler. He told us that they were beginning filming of Fantastic Beasts 3 in the new year, early in the year. He actually said February, but this is saying spring. So maybe February means like rehearsals and like coming in to like read the scripts and stuff like that together. I don't know.
Possibly.
So production is confirmed to start in spring of 2020. It has been greenlit. And we have discovered that we're going to see more of comedian and actor Jessica Williams, who played the role of Professor Eulalie Hicks, a teacher at Ilvermorny School, who was the person in the book that was talking to Nicholas Flamel in Crimes of Grindelwald. And we were like, who is that? It was her, but apparently she has a bigger role in this film.
Interesting.
So are we going to see Ilvermorny? That'd be cool.
I hope so. That'd
So
be
do
so
I.
amazing.
It seems really cool. So.
We're going to Brazil, which is exciting. It's gonna be.
Yes.
It's gonna take place partially. We're gonna go back to New York. We're going. Oh wait, hold on. I'm lying. They were listing. The first one was in New York. The second took place in Paris, and now we can reveal the third film will officially be visiting Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
Imagine all the cool creatures.
I know. That's what I was thinking
Think of all
too.
the colorful birds.
Yeah.
I like birds.
Yeah. And it's also going to be directed again by David Yates. Joe, you better put a leash on him with his little scissors and how much he cuts out of the film, because I swear to God.
A leash and some scissors.
I swear
Call
to
him
God.
Jack Snap the tailor.
However, this is super interesting news. We are not getting a solely J.K. Rowling written screenplay.
Yeah, we're not.
So Steve Cloves, I don't know.
However you prefer.
He's
think
coming
it's
back.
Cloves.
He's coming back to the Wizarding World, and he is co-writing the screenplay with Joe. How do you guys feel about that?
Am I supposed to know who he is?
He did like all the Potter movies,
Oh.
except one of them, but I can't remember which one.
The only reason I'm okay with it is because Joe isn't a screenwriter. Does she write phenomenally? Yes, but she's not a screenwriter. So to have someone who is, but have her still be very involved, I think that'd be a good marriage.
Here's the thing. What she already has for Fantastic Beasts and how she's written it. Are we on napkins? Are we in notebooks? Are we on a computer? Or do you have like fully formed novels that he has to pick apart with you? Like, what do you already have?
Right.
And I know that it has to be like made for a movie, and it really differs from a novel. So I just wonder.
Well,
I mean, but as far as teaming up and writing together, I actually told someone today this, because we were talking about Cursed Child, and I said, me as a consumer, I have, in my own opinion, no place to say to a creator that's not canon.
Right.
So if we're going to talk about things that are canon and not, just because it's not solely created by a creator, if Joe tells me it's canon, it's canon.
Well,
And that's my
Star Wars
and that's
stuff,
my
too.
own exactly. You have the Legends
Yeah.
books and stuff like that, and that's canon to some people and it's not canon to some people. So it
I
is what
will
it
say,
is.
though-
But for me, if she says it's canon, it's canon.
I think with that stuff though, with some of the Star Wars stuff, when Disney like acquired the rights, they were like, they said this is no longer canon, even though before George Lucas said, yeah, whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different, but like, again, she has control over, like, it's her world. So if she's saying something's canon, it's canon. But I think that with having him come in, and if he's a screenwriter, he might be able to put her ideas on screen better than she.
Agreed. Yeah.
She writes novels. So like it's easier to set a scene in a book because you can write every little thing down. It's harder to put that on screen to convey like what every single person is thinking and like what they're feeling. That's not just, this is how I want to write it on a piece of paper, but like those actors had to portray it. So it's a little bit different.
And why not give her
The
a
medium,
teammate?
And I have no qualms with.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Meg? I mean, you posed the question. What are your thoughts?
I hate it.
Jeez.
I just like, so at LeakyCon, I met Luke from Hogwarts Radio, and shout out to them. Me and him are in like the exact same boat with the Fantastic Beasts movies. Like, we full steam ahead, absolutely love them, everything about them. Like, I don't think that there was anything wrong with Crimes of Grindelwald, in my opinion. I think it maybe suffers from middle movie syndrome, which happens with series a lot.
Yeah.
But again, once we take a step back and we have everything, I don't think that it will be as bad as people thought that
Oh,
it was.
because we're not supposed to have everything.
And I don't think that Joe had a problem with anything with the screenplays. I think that David Yates had a problem with taking things out. I don't think that it was her screenplay. I don't think she needs help writing screenplays. She clearly showed in the first one for sure that she knows how to do it, and she did it well.
It's a good movie.
There was nothing wrong with the first one. People, like, we learned the information that we think that we should have. She, as Eddie Redmayne said, it was the most detailed screenplay
Right.
he'd ever received in his entire acting career. And I think that they're doing this because of pressure from the outside, and I'm not okay with it.
That's a fair point.
Sorry,
yeah.
I on to that. What pressure?
People said that they didn't like Crimes of Grindelwald, and that was very vocal. A lot of people said it.
Oh,
Critics said it.
Well,
I mean,
was it because of Johnny Depp, or was it because of the lack of detail
it was
in the
both.
movie with character development and all that jazz?
I think both. I also think that people, yes, it's a standalone film, but like take the four of us. We come into this having however many years of reading the original books, watching those movies 1,000,001 times. So we know that the characters that we're seeing, like, we know Dumbledore, we know his backstory for the most part. We've seen all of those characters that are connecting us later on. We know them.
And if you
So
don't,
we come into this knowing,
Right.
having all of this back information and all of like our luggage saying, we know all of these things about this world.
and like, what does some critic from who knows where know about the world? That's, you know what I'm
yes,
sure that's
so,
what
Now
like,
you're
there's
trying to
a
make
lot
me
of-
change my mind, and now I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it doesn't bother me either way.
I mean,
didn't-
I'm just here for whatever.
yeah. I mean, I didn't love
Yeah.
the films, but I didn't hate them either. And like, I have to sit with things for a long time. So I think by the end of all the movies, I'll be like, yeah, I liked them.
I just
But-
think it's unnecessary.
But I think too, going back to,
Yeah, but
you
we
know,
don't really know what's going on. You know?
Yes,
We
but I
don't know the
think-
behind
I think
the
that a lot
scenes.
of those critics genuinely were people that, and that's not to say you can't come in and enjoy these movies for what they are by themselves. It just helps us appreciate the backstory. So like, yes, you're going into a movie where you don't have all of the facts, and so if you're going into it never reading any of the Harry Potter film or books, you read the films or watching any of the movies, and then you're going to see Fantastic Beasts and like of itself.
Yeah.
You might go into being like, you don't know anything, so none of it makes sense to you, more so than like some of the stuff that's just not making sense to us yet because we don't have all the answers.
I mean,
Right.
we
So
did
those
this.
are probably people that are going like, this doesn't make sense, and what are these creatures, and yada da 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 da,
Yeah.
because those are some of the reviews. But they also were coming into it knowing nothing, so we're coming in, we're like, yeah, we still don't know a whole ton, but we at least I shouldn't say at least, but we know more than they do because we're coming in with our knowledge of Harry
Well,
Potter.
we also need to just like take a step back and appreciate the time that we're in with this. You know, there was a time where we had years in between books and we were lost in the sauce. So, and then everything obviously worked out really great in the end. So
Yeah.
let's you know,
in Luke's words, why mess with perfection?
the queen.
I think that it was perfect. I think the first two films, minus that clearly there were some scenes edited out that shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was anything wrong with them. There was nothing wrong with the script.
Do you know what you need to do?
Write to her. I need
Dear
to tweet
Joe.
her.
Call
Dear
her up.
Joe.
Yeah.
She might
and I
answer.
think that like
Where's
I
the dang shirt?
I have this
Had the shirt been
thing.
designed and you're not doing all your beautiful invitations?
I just think that I think that my qualms with Steve Kloves is in the Harry Potter movies. He really had a thing and really enjoyed the relationship of Harry and Hermione, and he really tried to play that up on screen. And he's admitted that in interviews, even though
bogus.
Harry or Hermione ends up with Ron. He was like, I just wanted that relationship, so I really tried to push it. And it's like,
He
it's
said
not
that?
your story to tell.
Turd bird.
And like, so that's what I'm like.
I don't
I'm
know.
thinking in my head.
I
I'm
never
like,
saw
what
it.
is? Well,
Saw
like
it
that
7.
dancing scene in Deathly Hallows.
I
He
think-
added that in
loved that.
specifically.
I loved that scene.
See, but I
though.
think that was kind of
a
cutting
very
through the tension.
that
you
was
know
a
what I
very
mean?
friendship.
I get that.
Scene to
I
me.
agree, but what I don't like is in an interview he said it was specifically because he liked Harry and Hermione together and he wanted
He's
them
a
together.
shipper. Let him ship.
No.
Okay, let's move on. You have
So I
things
just
to do.
I'm like in my mind I'm like, what is he gonna do
It's okay.
in Fantastic
You
Beasts
can't
with
change
that?
it. Don't fret.
But guess what? Hermione
You're
still
gonna
ended
be
up with
okay.
Ron.
I know. I just don't like him. So
Don't worry, they're gonna get divorced and he'll marry me.
Breathe. It's
I just want Joe to
okay.
do her thing because she was perfect.
Do you want me
I don't
to
mean
sing
to be
you a
this person.
song?
But there's no such thing as perfect.
It is. You're looking at it.
No.
Oh my god.
Harry Potter? The
Remember when
story is perfect.
My mom yelled at me for saying that to a kid. My grandma was like, "What? That's the truth. There is no such thing as perfect." Mary Poppins isn't even perfect. She's practically perfect in every way.
Hit me, Tiff.
I don't know what to do.
Hit me with the recap.
Hit me with the recap.
Dun, dun,
Why don't you hit me with the recap?
That was nice.
That was awesome. I'm so
All right. So last chapter episode, Fudge was a big dumb, and he doesn't want to believe that
Just a
Voldemort
big
is
dumb.
back. He would rather break ties with Dumbledore than believe that he's back. And
Bad
once-
move, dude.
Once Fudge stormed out, Dumbledore sets his plans into motion. Harry gets the nicest hug in history and is finally allowed to get some sleep.
This is just a little side note because I was watching Good Mythical Morning compilation videos today, and they did this one where it was like a drink where they have a shot, and they're like, Dumbledore, Dumbledore, Dumbledore. And they're like, and then they take a drink. It just made me think of that.
I love Dumbledore.
All right, let's talk about the final chapter of this book and move on with our lives, sadly. So Harry meets with the Diggories while Dumbledore addresses the entire school, basically like, leave Harry alone. Don't talk to him. Can people do that for me, please?
Yeah.
The trio go and they visit Hagrid for the last time this school year, and they find that he has some summer homework from Dumbledore that he'll be doing, hopefully along with Madame Maxime. There's one final feast. Dumbledore addresses everyone again, and then basically, he tells them that Voldemort is back and he killed Diggory. No matter, he basically is like, don't believe what the ministry says.
Pretty
kind
much.
of things, And then, they're back on the train going home. There are many conversations. Harry learns that he won't be bugged by Rita for a while, hopefully ever. Malfoy makes some claims that in the future don't pan out. Fred and George do some magic, and Harry rewards them, and then off they go for the summer.
Tra-la-la-la-la. Skipping off into the sunset, right?
It's gonna get darker from here.
So,
Deaths will come.
oh my gosh.
Don't know where that came from. I had like a Trelawney moment.
That was really evil. It was. So the chapter begins with Harry thinking a lot about the past month, and there's like just a bunch of like scattered memories that happened, and he only sees the scattered memories at this point because he can't like take in any new information because of his trauma that he's gone through. he ends up meeting with the Diggory family, and they're really, really kind to him, and they didn't blame him. And I said, see, cursed child.
I underlined that in my book.
Ooh. That's a really
So
good catch.
those are some thoughts to think. I'm gonna sip tea. Just a moment. Meg, you speak. I will sip this. Oh, you sip too?
I was gonna sip it.
Let's both sip the tea.
I can sip my coffee. Okay, don't do that.
I bet that sounds real great in the microphone.
I do what I want.
So yeah. Anyways, they thank him for bringing Cedric's body back. And then we go to Mrs. Diggory. And she is trying her best not to lose control of her emotions, but she's pretty much beyond tears at this point. Have you ever been so sad
Yeah.
that you literally, like, you physically
numb.
can't cry anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's at this point. She's beyond tears. And she said that Cedric must have suffered very little, which is true.
Yeah.
And he must have been really happy when he died because he just won the tournament.
It's so sad.
And
Some silver lining stuff that
you
you're
know-
just grasping at because you're in a horrible place, you know?
Yeah.
I really am glad that Harry didn't say anything because if personally I think back to moments before Cedric passed, he must have been excited that he like won, or was it the potential of like winning? But he was also
He also kinda
confused
knew
and a little afraid.
something
Yeah.
was up. Yeah.
And that to me doesn't sit well. But I'm glad Harry wasn't like, well,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was, painful for him to die, which is
Physically.
physically.
Yeah.
So that's somewhat of a
Somewhat
morbidly comforting
Correct.
thing.
It's like if someone's like, oh well, they passed in their sleep. Like my grandfather passed in his sleep.
Yeah.
That brings me comfort.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's move on here. When the interview with them was over and they called it an interview, she looks down at him and says, you take care of yourself now. And then Harry tries to give her the Triwizard winnings, and she says no. She could have never taken that money, in my opinion. It would have been too sad. Like, she would never have been able to put it in her Gringotts account. She would have never been able to spend it. It would have been, like, tainted money. in
Oh,
my
I think that's
opinion.
kind of like how Harry feels. They kind of would
Oh,
have
that's
felt
why
the
he
same
gets
way.
rid of it
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh, absolutely. I'm saying that's how she,
Yeah.
they feel the same way about it. They don't want it.
She seems like she's a really sweet woman, and I really wish I could have known her character a little bit more.
Other than her name's Mrs. Diggory, as per Wikia online.
Yeah.
I feel like her name would be Ruth.
Ruth Diggory.
Yeah.
Ruth. I like it.
Good name.
Canon.
Ruth and Amos.
Canon. Yeah.
Amos and Ruth. They sound like such a cute couple.
A little Cedric.
Gosh, get sad. Harry finds out from Ron and Hermione that Dumbledore had made a speech that morning and requested that basically everybody leave Harry alone about the events that had taken place. And most of the students were, they're abiding by this. But they're doing it in a way that's not necessarily appropriate, but it's probably appropriate for the age group of the kid.
But I also think that they are afraid of him.
Well, let's get into that. And it says most of the students in the castle were skirting around him in the corridors, avoiding eye contact with him. And I said, good, because Voldy can see right through them. Ooh.
Oh, creepy.
So Harry guessed that many of them had probably read Ritz or Rita's articles about how disturbed he is and how he could be possibly dangerous.
It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's like, what is that called? Slander?
Mm-hmm.
She should go to the band.
The Whiz Priz.
Someone should fly swatter.
I spilled on myself.
You spilled on yourself.
They should just lock her
I
in
gotta
a
get
jar.
I gotta take the unicorn out of my teacup. Whoop. Harry was thinking that maybe these students are maybe making their own theories about what happened with Cedric in the graveyard. And the cool thing about Harry is at this moment, he discovered that he really didn't care much at all.
He's numb.
Well, I'm hoping he's getting more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not his first time where people have in the castle, the entire castle, have been like weird around him, especially like in 2,
Yeah.
where they all thought he was the heir of Slytherin, and so like he's like, you know what? I got my people. I have
Yeah.
Ron. I have Hermione. You know, he's even got like, doesn't mention it, but he's got Neville and he's got Hagrid.
Don't we all kind of
Yeah.
reach that at some point? in our
Yeah.
lives? He did it very early, but like, you know, not recently, but like, you know, as you grow up, you're just like, you know what? I don't want the drama. All I need
Yeah.
are the people I care about, and that's it.
Over the
Yeah.
past couple of years, I have reached that spot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know the saying, the people who mind don't matter and the people who matter don't mind.
Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
He's got people in his corner, and at the end of the day, he's like, he knows himself and he knows his people.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
I'm sitting with my people.
Aw,
I'm not.
Tiffany.
Yeah, well, I didn't
Don't
count
lie.
you. So, anywho, yeah, he thinks people are maybe making their own theories about what happened. And I'm sure there's rumors going around that he just really doesn't care to hear. And I bet Ron and Hermione hear them, but they don't say anything because the great thing about these two is that they know him well enough to let him sit in silence, and they know to talk about other things when they're around him.
I
That's
bet
nice.
you, though, that like if something gets too feisty, like to
Oh, Ron.
Ron, you know,
Yeah.
not a stereotype. I don't want this to sound stereotypical, but sometimes redheads are a little fiery. I am not naturally a redhead, but I am a fiery person. I could imagine him like socking someone in the face for talking smack about his Harry.
Well, think about what he was doing for Hermione when Malfoy was calling her mudblood and all
Yeah.
that. Like, he knows how to stand up for the ones that he loves, and clearly they all love each other.
Whoa, love? What?
Yeah. And then I want to read some quotes from the book. So, quote, he felt as though all three, that was,
Sorry.
of them had reached an understanding they didn't need to put into words. That each was waiting for some sign, some word of what was going on outside Hogwarts, and that it was useless to speculate about what might be coming until they knew anything for certain. And I kind of like that without saying things, that they're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ron told Harry that Mrs. Weasley asked if Harry could go right to their house in the summer, but Dumbledore said that Harry must return to Privet Drive in the summer, and Harry's like, why? And apparently Dumbledore has his reasons.
Should we sip some tea on that?
No, because the unicorn's in there. If you don't know, okay, I probably should tell them what I'm doing. So I'm sipping on some tea that we will talk about a little later. And what is this called?
A steeper.
It's a steeper.
A steeper? Is it like a giant rainbow unicorn steeper? It's in my cup.
I have a llama one.
She does have a llama. So Ron shakes his head darkly and he goes, I suppose we've got to trust him, haven't we? Yes, Ronald. Yes, you do. And the thing that I love about this chapter is the little bitty part with Hagrid right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My man.
Yes, your man. So Harry felt as if the only other person he could really talk to was Hagrid. So they go down to Hagrid's little hut, and Hagrid says, been having a cuppa with a limp, Hagrid said. She's just left. Who? Said Ron curiously. Madame Maxime, of course, said Hagrid. You two made up, have you? Said Ron. And Hagrid's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
We were never fighting.
Right? He like, oh gosh. But I'm glad that they made up, because even though they don't really end up together, shame on you, Joe. Or shame on you for having Hagrid not have children, because that's sad, because I think he would be a perfect father. Anyway.
We can't talk about this again. Remember we cried.
It was-
not we,
I
I cried the last time.
I just love him. But, I just wanted Hagrid to have some love. But anyways, what was I saying?
He
I knew he was going to come back.
No.
Going to come back.
Well, they have like a little conversation, and then he like, I feel like he's talking to the three of them, but he's mostly like speaking to Harry in this moment. So he's like, knew he was going to come back, said Hagrid. And yes, he did say that.
Yeah.
He did. You can find that in the earlier books. And Harry, Ron, and Hermione looked up at him shocked. Known it for years, Harry, so he's speaking directly to him now, knew he was out there, biding his time. It had to happen. Well, now it has, and we'll just have to get on with it. We'll fight. Might be able to stop him before he gets a good hold. That's Dumbledore's plan anyway. Great man, Dumbledore. So long as we've got him, I'm not too worried. See book 6. Hagrid raised his bushy eyebrows at the disbelieving expressions on their face. No good sittin' worrying about it, he said. What's coming will come, and we'll meet it when it does. Isn't that a good line?
Yes. It's really hard to live
Yeah.
by it, but I really try.
No good sittin' worrying about it, he said. What's coming will come, and we'll meet it when it does.
I like how they portray that in the movie too, because it like
Oh,
is all
yes.
stormy outside, and he's like, "Storm's coming."
He says that in 5, though.
Oh, he does. You're right.
Doesn't he?
I don't remember anything.
I'm pretty sure they put it in 5.
Hmm.
Wait.
I haven't seen Goblet, like the movie, in a long time because I want to cut all of their hair.
Yeah.
Like I focus too much on their hair.
Somebody
Literally-
in Discord help me.
Yeah. When does Hagrid have that line?
Because I remember the stormy, and it's looking out his window. Storm's coming,
No,
Harry.
it is 5 because it's after he comes back from the Giants. He has a stake on
That's
his
right.
ass.
That's
It is
right.
5.
That's right.
Well, okay.
Got it.
So they put it to the beginning of the year instead of the end of 4th year.
But what I like about
that's
this
fine.
conversation, and Hagrid really, like sometimes, yes, he's a little too honest with things that he's not supposed to say, but like I like that he's honest with them, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate that in adults, and I know, like for me, I value honesty really above a lot of other things because I'm a very honest person. And I like that he doesn't give them the runaround, you know, Harry specifically, because he even asks, like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. He goes, no, you're not, but you're going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like that a lot. I appreciate it.
So after Hagrid says this, which is really profound, you know, when you think about it, like, it's similar to what Newt says, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just
Worrying, what does he say? Worrying just means you suffer
twice.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It
Which is
reminds
so
me of that.
true.
And it's like, I mean, there's so many things from these books that you can take and apply them to your real life. But like, if you have no control over something, let it go like Elsa, right?
Yeah, significantly easier said than done.
Right. But if you have that, like, if you can try and get that mindset, you know, just try.
I know with me, I just am like, when I'm crazy anxious about something that I have to absolutely do, I'm just like, I kind of just take a deep breath and like, you're just going to have to do it. Yeah. And then 9 times out of 10, it's way better than what I expected. I'm like, you build it up, it's going to be awful.
Yeah.
And you almost have like a panic attack and you walk in, you're like, it's nothing.
And kind of off topic, but not, but like creating scenarios in your head that haven't happened and sometimes are completely outlandish.
I do that all the time.
Isn't that bananas?
Yeah.
That's really
I do
like,
that all the time.
That's like what anxiety is.
Yeah. And then I like
It's
sit there and
usually-
think to myself and I'm like, goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's
no.
usually the thoughts. Like it's a thought of something that makes you
yeah,
anxious,
that
not
might happen, the
necessarily-
potential.
Oh
yeah.
God, that defines
Yeah.
me to a T.
Yeah.
It happens a lot when I'm driving, and I hate it.
What I really liked,
Shower
I had to
thoughts
take a
for me.
test a couple years ago, and they're like, if you want to, here's pictures of the room of where you're going to be if you want to take a look. And I was like, I loved that, so I could like see exactly what the room was going to look like. I knew exactly what I was walking into, like stuff like that.
It's the
Makes-
unknown that
yes.
scares us.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's like amazing. Okay, like I knew exactly what I had to do, and it made me not as anxious.
That's good.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
anxiety sucks, man.
it does. It does. And a lot of people have it. You know?
Yep.
And I feel like it's just now being talked about within the past, I don't know, 5 years
mean,
or so, you know?
Right now, we all just said basically we have it.
Yeah.
I'm usually anxious about something every day.
I didn't used
You
to
know what
have
the
it.
worst is,
I have
though?
that postpartum still.
You know what's the worst is when or this is going to sound awful. I shouldn't say it like this, but like specifically my mom will be crazy anxious about something. And I'm like, you have to stop because like, you're going to make me anxious. So like she'll be so anxious, she makes me anxious. And then it's like a whole reverberating of us both being anxious. And it's just like Sundays are a bad day for us usually. Always makes us crazy anxious about like the week and everything.
Back to Harry Potter?
Yeah.
All right. This is quoting Hagrid still. Dumbledore told me what you did, Harry. And Hagrid said that Harry would have done just as much as his father would have. And that is a very high compliment. And it was the first time that Harry had smiled in days.
Oh.
Days. That's a long time to go without smiling.
He's had a rough time.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's just sad.
Yeah, it is very sad.
So Harry kind of pries a little. He sent Professor McGonagall to ask you and Madame Maxime to meet him that night. Got a little job for me to do over the summer, said Hagrid. Secret, though. I'm not supposed to talk about it. No, not even to you lot. Olympe, Madame Maxime, to you might be coming with me. I think she will. I think I got her persuaded. So she must have been putting up a fight. Is this to do with Voldemort? Hagrid flinched at the sound of the name. Might be, he said evasively. Now, who'd like to come and visit the last Scroot with me? I was joking, he added hastily, seeing the looks on their faces.
I hope they got a good chuckle, you know? A little break of the tension. Let's go look at some Scroots. Then he's like, I'm kidding.
Poor Hagrid knows.
Let's go look at some Scroots.
Oh, Scroot.
The Scroot in Orlando.
Rainbow butthole.
Don't say it!
What did happen?
It was so, and I felt like it was like right by my face.
In your face.
I literally was yelling to Sarah. I was like, "Did you see that?"
I did not.
It was awkward.
I can't wait to write.
I'm not
again.
okay. Honestly, if you've written, goodness, that's a long name. Anyway, the Hagrid ride, which is what we're going to call it. If you've written the Hagrid ride and you saw what we saw, please let me know that it was real and I didn't make it up. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, Meg, go.
All right. So Harry is sad for the leaving feast. And not only was he sad for it, but he had been doing a good job of avoiding people. So he was anxious about it, really, because he didn't want to go into a full Great Hall because he hadn't done that since he left the hospital wing. So normally the Great Hall would have been decorated with the house colors of the winning house, but today there were black drapes everywhere. In solidarity for Cedric.
Did they do that for Dumbledore's funeral in the Great Hall?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I like
don't
that
know.
you have all of these things capitalized.
The actual real life Mad Eye Moody.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
You're such a silly.
Was sitting at the staff table and he was quite twitchy and on edge. And I said, can you blame him?
No.
We thought that Mad Eye was on edge and crazy when it wasn't even Mad Eye. But like now Mad Eye is
Fat Eye.
when it was
God.
Judy. But now Moody's basically like, he probably doesn't trust himself yet because he never would have thought that he would have been put in that situation, but he was.
He got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it totally changes him
yeah,
for the rest of the series.
That's probably one of his like worst nightmare fears is
Yeah.
that he got, but not only did he got, but he got and had to suffer.
Right.
That's a lot of gots. But
Am I-
that's what he went through. Like for anyone is a super, like I think
Yeah.
sometimes we don't like realize how traumatic that alone is. So you
It's
were
almost an
attacked and you were
entire
essentially
year.
kidnapped
Yes.
and then locked in your
Yes.
own drawer thing,
Had
your
your hair
like, trunk thing
plucked
for
constantly.
months.
He
For
was literally
months.
Almost a year.
He was
almost a
put
year.
in like a type of purgatory for him.
I mean, solitary confinement
Right.
for months. And they talk about how detrimental that is for people's, like, not only mental health, but their physical health and all of those things, like not having sunlight.
Can
and
you
not having
imagine
people
your
to talk
muscle
to.
mass decrease because
Yeah.
you're not getting up and walking around and doing things? I
and
bet
he couldn't because he didn't even have his one leg.
I wonder if Madame Pomfrey could magic him stronger muscles.
I don't know.
Probably something.
I mean, if you can regrow bones, why can't you regrow muscle?
Well, but he doesn't, it's not that he has to regrow muscle. He
has
has
to
to get the
learn
strength
how to-
back. So, like,
Yeah, but
he's
it's
not
magic.
losing, I know, but he's not losing, like, muscle cells. Do you get what I'm saying? He has the same amount. There's just,
They're small.
do you want me to get into the scientific
Okay,
reason of
nursing
how you
student.
build
Let's
muscle?
move on.
No, I don't. But I would like a marionette
It
arm.
has to do with oxygen and myoglobin in your muscle cells.
You're cute.
So Kokoroff's chair was empty.
Bye,
and
boy.
Where do you think he went first? Sorry.
Hell, if we don't pray.
What
on
in
the
the
run.
world?
just on the run. I think he's not stopping. He's just like literally, like I kind of envision like Slughorn, like what Slughorn did. How he
Oh,
was just kind of
yeah,
like on the
Muggle
run,
houses.
went from house to house, place to place.
Do you think he was tempted to become like maybe an unregistered animagus?
Probably,
I mean, it could have
but
helped
I don't
him.
think
I like,
he's-
look how long Wormtail survived.
I don't think he's talented enough.
I do kind of agree with that.
Really?
But it's a different situation with Wormtail because Voldemort wasn't in the sound mind and body to be able to like send peeps to look for him. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
hiding from the Ministry where they have laws and rules. Voldemort doesn't. He does what he wants. So like when he's looking for someone, he's like, go find and kill them. Where the Ministry is like, we'll kind of look for you. If we see you in the news, then we'll send someone. You know, we'll send an aura out.
Oh my gosh.
We'll send an aura. We'll see if they catch him.
So
Bye.
Harry wondered where Karkaroff was and if Voldemort had caught up to him yet, but we know that he hasn't yet. He's still on the run. And Madame Maxime was sitting beside Hagrid and they were talking quietly, I'm sure, about their mission together. See the giants. Yeah. So McGee was sitting beside Snape, whose expression Harry says was difficult to read. Harry wondered what had Snape done on Dumbledore's orders the night that Voldemort had returned. We know that it was successful, seeing as he's sitting in the Great Hall.
Right.
So he had gone back to Voldemort. He was a successful spy that had infiltrated the Death Eaters, which is crazy.
It's like heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Love him or hate him, it's heart-wrenching.
Whose expression was difficult to read.
Yeah.
He was probably loathing everything.
For sure. Yeah.
Easily.
I feel so bad for him.
I do. I mean, I don't like him, but I still feel bad for him.
course.
Like,
Yeah,
what
I
a
mean-
crappy situation.
It's just so like,
And he knows, honestly, if he wants to live, he has to do this. And
Yeah.
if he wants safety with Dumbledore, he has to do this. So it's just like, honestly, like he had no choice. He had
Yeah.
to go and do that.
Yeah. I think
So.
too, he just is like ready for it all to be, I mean, they all are probably just to be over. Like they went through it like however many years ago.
Yeah, they don't
They
want to
just,
do it again.
they just want it to
think
be
he really-
done.
yeah. And I think he really plays his role up way like amazing this time because he really wants it to be over. So
Yeah,
if he really
right.
Like finally.
goes all in 100%
Right.
into this role, maybe Voldemort will be defeated sooner.
Yeah. Because I think this time he's like, he knows he's not going to make it out alive. I don't think he's ever planning to survive this go around, but he also
Yeah.
wants to make sure that if he goes down, that Voldemort's going down and staying down as well.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I'm going to read Dumble's speech.
No, thank you. Can we just skip it and pretend it didn't happen?
I know. It
Yeah.
is a little heart-wrenching.
It is.
And by a little, I mean a lot, and I want to cry in a corner.
I'm not going to read the in-between things where, like, you know, we're thinking of Harry's emotions. I'm literally just going to read Dumbledore's words, so maybe that'll be better.
Okay, I'm prepared to cry.
All right.
I bet you I won't.
Read it like Dumbledore.
Fingers crossed.
The end
No.
of another year.
Oh my god.
There is much that I would like to say to you all tonight, but I must first acknowledge the loss of a very fine person who should be sitting here. He gestures towards the Hufflepuffs, enjoying our feast with us. I would like you all please to stand and raise your glasses to Cedric Diggory. Cedric was a person who exemplified many of the qualities that distinguish Hufflepuff House, Dumbledore continued. He was a good and loyal friend, a hard worker. He valued fair play. His death has affected you all, whether you knew him well or not. I think that you have the right, therefore, to know exactly how it came about. Cedric Diggory was murdered by Lord Voldemort. It says a panicked whisper swept the Great Hall. People were staring in disbelief and in horror. But Dumbledore was calm. He was actually calm. Like, really.
My god.
Really?
He was calm.
Like book and movie?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Ministry of Magic does not wish me to tell you this. It's possible that some of your parents will be horrified that I have done so, either because they will not believe that Lord Voldemort has returned, or because they think I should not tell you so, young as you are. It is my belief, however, that the truth is generally preferable to lies. That's weird. And that any attempt to pretend that Cedric died as the result of an accident or some sort of blunder of his own is an insult to his memory.
Agreed.
Yes. There is somebody else who must be mentioned in connection with Cedric's death. I am talking, of course, about Harry Potter. Harry Potter managed to escape Lord Voldemort. He risked his own life to return Cedric's body to Hogwarts. He showed in every respect the sort of bravery that few wizards have ever shown in facing Lord Voldemort, and for this I honor him. The Triwizard Tournament's aim was to further and promote magical understanding. In the light of what has happened of Lord Voldemort's return, such ties are more important than ever before. Every guest in this hall will be welcomed back here at any time, should they wish to come. I say to you all once again, in the light of Lord Voldemort's return, we are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. That's a really important line, even for like life
Everything
right now.
in life. Everything in life.
Yeah.
Like
We-
literally everything.
I'm going to say it again.
Do it.
We are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. Divisiveness does nothing. Does nothing. Except tear you apart and make you vulnerable. So, okay, I'm going to go on. Lord Voldemort's gift for spreading discord and enmity is very great.
And an enemy.
And an enemy. We can fight it only by showing an equally strong bond of friendship and trust. Differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open.
Say it again.
We can fight it only by showing an equally strong bond of friendship and trust. Differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open. I wish somebody would read that. It'd be good for them to learn. It is my belief, and never have I so hoped that I am mistaken, that we are all facing dark and difficult times. Some of you in this hall have already suffered directly at the hands of Lord Voldemort. Many of your families have been torn asunder. It's a weird word. A week ago, a student was taken from our midst. Remember, Cedric. Remember, if the time should come when you have to make a choice between what is right and what is easy,
That is one of my favorites.
remember what happened to a boy who was good and kind and brave because he strayed across the path of Lord Voldemort. Remember Cedric Diggory.
Oh my god, that last part.
I know.
Don't look at me.
But honestly, like he is the epitome of like that innocent person just in the line of fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Goblet of Fire. But literally in the line of fire. He is innocence. He's a life taken too soon, and he is it's just so it's one of those things where you're like, it's just not fair.
Yeah. That this entire speech is just like so relevant.
beautiful.
It's so good. It's so relevant.
But it's relevant
teaches
throughout
so many
history.
lessons. It teaches so many lessons in like really a paragraph, 2 paragraphs. It's simple.
Preach it, Joe.
Can we take a moment? Katie doesn't have a drink.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
we raise our glasses
Please.
to Cedric?
Yes. To Cedric.
To Cedric.
We're laughing because Katie has nothing
Katie
in
has
her hand.
none.
I'm gonna sip
But
some-
to Cedric.
I'm gonna sip some airs.
Also, shall we pour one out? I know we probably did before. Pour it out for Cedric Diggory.
Yes.
Pour one out for Cedric. So I found a really good Reddit feed. Is that what it's called? Feed? I don't know. About Dumbledore's speech.
Thread. I think
What
it's a
what
Reddit
what,
thread.
what do
Thread,
millennials
that's
say?
I don't know. I'm not a one.
I like pink.
So
It's a total bop. Is that what they say?
No, that's not a thing.
Yes.
No, it is not.
yeah, it is.
Who says it?
Everybody.
I'm everybody, and I don't.
I will
I
say-
stand by.
I
I've
never.
heard a lot of people saying Stan now.
Stan,
Oh,
I've
Stan
heard.
is a
Bop,
thing.
I haven't.
Okay, well, anyway, let's go to Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So that last paragraph that I read, you know, the Remember Cedric Diggory.
Ooh.
This person on Reddit, their name is Kathleen
Did you just call
Light.
it Threaded?
Did I? Reddit.
Thread it.
It's called Reddit.
I thread it. Oh my gosh, it's such a bop.
I stand Threaded.
All right. So anyway, I always found this a very powerful speech of Dumbledore's, and even more so rereading the books as an adult. But I always struggled to get exactly what Dumbledore meant with this part of it, the last part. If the time should come, you have to make a choice between what is right and what is easy. Remember what happened to Cedric, basically.
Yep.
I get that he's trying to tell the students to do the right thing, but back when I first read it as a teenager, I thought that perhaps it was badly written because it almost sounded as though he was saying, Cedric did the right thing and look what happened to him. Yet that clearly wasn't the message which is intended. Later, I felt like he was saying that Cedric died because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, not because of anything that he did, but because he was unlucky enough to meet Voldemort. But that doesn't really fit with the right versus easy choice moral message either. More recently, I've been thinking about it again, and I suppose that he's meaning something like if you're unsure what to do, it would be an honor to Cedric's memory to do the right thing. But I still feel like I don't get this part. What do you guys think? And then I really liked some, 2 people responded, and I liked it. It says, I took it as, this is Raven Puff. I took it as...
That's me.
It is you.
Oh, actually, I think their name is Sluggy Cat. I don't know. Anyway, I took it as evil is indiscriminate about who it hurts. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Making the easy choice will not always save you. And then Fred Bright Frog said, Cedric wasn't doing the right thing or making the hard choice. He was just a nice boy participating in a school sporting event, and he got killed anyway. When the enemy is willing to kill innocent people indiscriminately, simply trying to do the easy thing and keep your head down and hope for the best is not enough. To do so is to let things like Cedric's death keep happening. Tyranny cannot be stopped by just staying silent. The good people must come together and oppose such evil, and he proved right when the Ministry and general adult wizarding population tried to take the easy path and remain apathetic and in denial over the course of the next 2 years. By doing so, they allowed Voldemort to rise to power and conquer wizarding Britain much more easily than he should have been able to.
I like that
makes
second
sense.
response a lot. But what I took from it is, okay, so making the choice between what is right and what is easy and remembering Cedric, who was basically this innocent kid that got caught, right?
Yeah.
So when it's easy for you to give in to Voldemort's dark side, they're powerful, they're deadly, they're dangerous, it's scary. It's like getting caught up with a bully. If a bully is like terrorizing the school and is like coming up to you and is like, hey, why don't you join my group and stuff, and we'll protect you because like we're one and I'm the big strong bully, right? That's the easy choice to make. The hard choice
Right.
to make is to say
Go away.
no.
Right.
And that's also what I think. And if you remember Cedric, remember how he was this innocent person who basically just was the spare to Voldemort, but not to everybody else. And it's like, remember him. And if you need to make the choice, remember how, like, he was just there. And if you make the good choice, maybe there won't be other Cedrics. Maybe there won't be other people who are killed because they were there and the quote spare.
Right.
I like that. I like both.
Yeah.
Well, I think, too, you can even go back to just, he might be speaking to people that, I think of Neville in the first book when he says, it takes a lot of courage to stand up to your enemies, but it takes even more to stand up to your friends. That could be part of, some of these people might have friends that are choosing to side with Voldemort because it's easier and they don't want to do that. You have to choose what's right or what's easy. And that's not always an easy choice,
Yeah.
For sure.
Sometimes it's very difficult.
Especially when you're afraid.
Yeah. Fear does a lot of things to people. Also, when you're young.
Scare tactics is what they call them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to be back in a moment. We've got some cool things to tell you and break up this little sad story right here. First up, we have ROR Apparel, which is Room of Requirement Apparel, and they are an awesome, brand new Harry Potter themed t-shirt shop. I discovered them
Concept
through
is so
Instagram.
cool.
It is so cool. So it's
Yeah.
basically like a speakeasy online shop.
I'm in.
You need a password
Are
to
you
get
in?
in.
Yeah,
you have the password?
I have a. Well,
I have the password.
Meg has the password.
Password.
The
Is
password
it
is
Cabot Draconis?
ASCENDARE. And I'll spell that for you. in
Yeah,
case
I
you
was
don't
gonna
know.
say, how in the world?
But let me tell you more about them first.
Yeah, tell
So anyway, they have exclusive t-shirts every month. They did 2 the first month, and they were kind enough to send them to us.
So soft.
We got the Society for the Reformation of Hags and also Fire Whiskey.
That is a super cool shirt.
They're
really
awesome.
cool.
No, it's not. It's a really hot shirt.
All right, Sarah.
Go and check.
It's on fire.
We'll post pictures of them on our social media so that you can see them. But if you go to RORapparel.com and type in the password, which is ASCENDARE, you know, the spell that Gilderoy Lockhart does with the snake. It is ASCENDARE, and it will get you into their website to purchase the t-shirts. You can also go to their Instagram, which is ROR.apparel. And if you go onto her website, like, you can just message them and ask for the password and they'll give it to you. But like, you have to acquire it somehow to be able to go in.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, we'll like update you guys whenever we know new passwords as it changes and what the new designs might look like.
Yeah,
and all
it's
that
nice
kind of
quality
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, I got the Reformation of
Society for the Reformation of Hags.
that shirt. The blue color is beautiful, and it
Yeah.
is super soft.
It is.
It is super, super soft.
I dig it.
I can't wait to wear it.
Next up is Plum Deluxe Teas, which is the tea that we were talking about.
Oh, tease.
Oh, tea.
Somebody told me to read it like his Bill Burr's Sherry's Berries, and I can't remember how he does. Sherry's Berries.
Can you read it like Florence, Megan?
No.
What do you request, Megan?
Because she
Plum-
does it so bad.
Plum Deluxe.
Plum Deluxe.
Use our link down below to join the tea club. If you do, we
Have
get
a
credit
tea
for
party.
it, which we super appreciate. It will be in the description of this podcast and on all of our social medias. And that was like Western. Okay. It's either $10 or $16 a month to join the tea club, depending on what you choose. You can either get 1 or 2 teas per month. We tried.
lumber?
Tiffany,
Yes.
what
Let's talk
flavor
about-
did you try?
This was the
Apple cinnamon?
apple
Black
cinnamon.
tea.
Yeah, which is
We should mention,
absolutely
are they
delicious.
all loose leaf?
Okay, yes. So they are
Which is better for the environment.
they are loose leaf, they are fair trade, they're organic, and they're handmade blends.
got it.
Awesome.
Anyways,
I'm into that.
let's talk about this apple cinnamon, okay?
Yours tasted like an apple crumble cake in liquid form, I
It
thought.
is so some of these apple cinnamon teas out there, because it's literally my favorite scent for like a candle and stuff, and
That's
it's my
good.
favorite.
I like more appley, spicy scents. I don't like the sweet ones, but yes.
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite scents, and now I feel like I can enjoy it by drinking it, and it's not a harsh cinnamon.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it is that it is smooth.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like these teas that we tried, we got to like pick some to test out. And I picked like 2 or 3 different chais because it's like that season. It's just like chai season, you know, like when you're drinking tea, you want like something spicy and warm. So we got a pumpkin spice chai, a regular chai, and then like a smoky chai. We didn't try the smoky one yet, but Katie wanted to try that one.
I got here late, sorry.
Those are popular, like in Scotland. Like
Smoky
a lot of
tea?
Scottish
Just
teas
not
are smoky.
Smoked things are like sometimes too much for me.
Yes.
Salmon.
Yes. Sometimes I
So-
like it, sometimes I don't.
I'm excited to try it, but I tried the regular chai tea and it's super good. And what I
Very
like
good.
about loose leaf chais, I don't know why I like specifically loose leaf for me, but like I never need to sweeten them, which is like the best.
Yeah.
I can just drink it. I can put my little
We're like
llama tea infuser
opposites.
in there and let it steep, and I can just leave it in there and let it get super strong, which I love, and just drink it with no
Where do I buy these things?
Amazon.
Just type in
Target.
tea
Just
infuser.
Fill it up. Just
Yeah.
fill it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to start doing this more.
also,
Okay.
What you
Plum
could do
Deluxe.
too is just put it like in a teapot And then they have little like
Strainers.
that you put on top of your cup, and you just let it
Also
go.
Okay, I'm
Amazon.
into this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do bag teas anymore because now I have Plum Deluxe teas.
And they were very good. And like what's funny though is like I drank my coffee black and Megan does not, but I don't drink my tea black. Like I put
don't
honey
have
and milk
to,
in
yeah.
my tea.
You guys
Yeah.
are a little opposite
Just
birds.
enough to like, it's just so good. Like having a nice, like I drink tea year round, but I drink iced tea during the warmer months. And then so during the cold months, like Megan was saying, like chai tea was very good. I like the apple one.
just
I
like
to
the
like have my
season.
own little cup with some honey,
Can I be real?
some milk.
I've never had chai tea.
It's good.
Really?
It's very good.
Oh,
Cinnamony.
that's
and
what I've been
spicy.
drinking for the
Yeah.
last week.
Is it
Oh.
caffeinated?
There's not always caffeinated ones.
You can get herbal
one.
ones.
Some of them do have black. If they have black tea in the blend, then it's caffeinated. But you can get some herbal chais.
Okay,
good.
I'm willing. let's
Maya
let's
does
try
this
it out.
pumpkin, like a pumpkin chai tea. It
Yeah,
is
Plum
so
Deluxe sent us a pumpkin one.
good.
I want to try it. I didn't
It's so
open that
good.
one.
But I like mine a little
next time.
sweetened.
Next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Next week?
I
No,
get chai tea
2
lattes
weeks.
all the time from Starbucks.
You do that.
So good.
It's just spicy and yummy.
It's just like a nice little treat
Yeah.
to myself.
All right.
So
okay, well, next
whenever
time.
you join the club, the tea club,
Have a tea
you
party.
also get free shipping on like any other purchases that you do beyond that. So like if you like go on and buy other tea blends besides your monthly one, you get free shipping, you get special discounts as a member, and they'll like send you emails and stuff, and then you can cancel it at any time. But we
You're not
will
gonna want to.
have a link in our description for this podcast. If you want to join, just go and click it and sign up.
And enjoy some tea.
Thank
It's
you, Plum
genuinely
Deluxe.
very good. And I like loose leaf tea anyways. That's like my favorite kind of thing.
It truly is better,
Same.
man.
Yeah.
You know what I like? I like that we have our coffee with Expedition Roasters and we have our teas with Plum Deluxe. We're
All
set.
set.
We're all set.
Okay, guys, we have one more thing to tell you about. So there's another Etsy shop called Magically Styled, and I, no lie, have been following her Instagram page for months because I just like love her aesthetic and I love all of the designs that she puts out. But she makes really cute Potter inspired t-shirts. So shout out to Shauna. She sent us these. Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you. She sent us these adorable Head Witch in Charge shirts for each of us. Like we all got our house, which is really cute. And you can go follow her on Instagram at Magically Styled and check out her Etsy shop, which is also called Magically Styled. And if you go to her Etsy shop, you can use code SwishFlick10 for 10% off your purchase.
Do it.
So that's fun.
I am.
But I love them. And I'm going to for sure post pictures of those shirts as well.
Yes.
And again, it's called Magically Styled.
The only thing I have an issue with is all of your shirts are lies because I'm the head witch in charge. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, Kate, you're up.
Bring
We're
back
back.
the pain.
Regular scheduled program. All right.
You're just one ray of sunshine that's just going to bring us down.
I know.
Regularly
You don't have a
scheduled
problem with my
program.
yellow. I think you
Oh
need to
my
mellow
gosh.
on my yellow.
It's just a lot, but I love it.
No.
Do you
Literally
know?
head to well, I can't say that. Shoulders to toes, yellow.
Yeah, accurate.
Do you know what your voice reminded me of right then? Is in Mrs. Doubtfire, where he's watching the old guy do the dinosaur show, and he's like, "And this is the prehistoric Tyrannosaurus Rex."
I've never seen
What?
I wasn't listening.
What
were you
movie?
talking about?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
yes,
I've
yes,
seen
yes,
it.
I've never
yes.
seen it. I just
And then
killed
he
Tiffany.
gets the thing at the end. Yeah, so good.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I love Robin Williams.
such a good
I have
movie.
homework to do.
Yeah.
All right.
God.
It's such a good movie.
I've heard
It's-
nothing but great things. I've just never seen
Honestly, it's just so good. Hello. Let's go.
it. All right. Harry's trunk is all packed up, and the trio is in the entrance hall waiting for those no longer horseless carriages.
Awkward
But it
turtle
might be
moment.
right now. She didn't mention it.
They're not there.
They're not
I don't think
there
it's
yet.
processed,
No.
right?
Yeah,
so
they're
they're
not
not there yet. Okay. So here comes Floor, Tiffany,
You're welcome.
Delacour running over to say goodbye to Harry. Yes, ma'am.
Typical Meg. Katie gets one
Wow.
sentence in. Meg's hand goes up.
Do you think that, like, I know that she said...
Do you think she ran or do you think she floated? 'Cause she's a vila.
No, this is about the
Do you think she
Thestrals.
covered her behind?
Yeah, like, do you think that she
Possible.
forgot? Or
Possible.
and, like, that was...
I mean, like we said before,
Didn't she say she forgot?
People, did she? I don't know.
Oh, I don't
Pull
know.
it
I
up on
thought
the
that she
Internet
was just
Highway.
like, no, didn't sink in yet.
I mean,
It's a
honestly,
nice cover up.
she
It is a
didn't
good
know that people
cover
were
up.
going to be like this.
Oh, accurate.
Can
You
you
Be like,
stop doing that?
excuse me.
It's making me uncomfortable. Thank you.
So here comes Fleur running up to say bye. And she tells Harry that she hopes that they'll see each other again because she's hoping to get a job here to improve her English.
Oh,
AKA she wants
only
to
that?
smooch Bill and
Oh,
Weasley.
it's my English.
And Ron's like, oh, your English is already very good already.
my
And Hermione's like,
gosh.
please.
please.
So then Fleur runs off, and just as Ron is like, I wonder how the Durmstrang students are going to get back to school, Crumb shows up. And Ron's like, okay, so do the students steer the ship without Karkaroff? And Crumb's like, no, he didn't steer. He stayed in his cabin and made us do all the work. What? A turd.
I mean, we knew this.
Yeah.
You know,
I was
seems
not
the type.
surprised.
Right. So Crumb asks Hermione for a word.
A bird.
And Ron's like craning his neck over the crowd, trying to see what they might be up to. But they come back pretty
Smooching.
quick, yeah. And so Crumb looks to Harry and he says that he liked Diggory. He was always polite to him, always, even though he was from Durmstrang with Karkaroff. So Crumb really doesn't like his background, and we know that from the beginning because he seems to like Hogwarts a lot compared to Durmstrang.
Mm-hmm.
So Harry asks, like, do you guys have a new headmaster yet? And Crumb's like, I don't know. He just,
Wouldn't
like,
he
doesn't
be done
care.
with school anyways? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, he
yeah.
should be. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah, I really don't think
theirs
he cares.
works.
Actually.
Like, how long they go till. But, like,
Right.
you're 17, 18 years old. Bye.
It just seems that if
Graduate.
like if he feels this way about Karkaroff, like it kind of seems as if this isn't a real surprise. Like
Yeah.
him taking off like that. So I wonder like how the other students feel if they're also like, seems like he's, Karkaroff's being a Karkaroff right now. Like that's just like something that he would do. Nobody seems to be like traumatized by him leaving.
Where'd he
Because
go? Or,
put
yeah.
yourself in that position. Think about I didn't do this personally, but I know a lot of 8th grades go to DC, right? For their little 8th grade trip. Think about if you're in DC and all of a sudden your teacher and chaperone, they're boom gone. Think about how you would
Right?
feel.
But, like, we had a plethora, so it would be
Say
very
you
odd.
only had one,
That makes me anxious just thinking about it.
right?
Having one
but
person.
I know we only see Crumb in this moment, but it's like kind of feels like no one's surprised.
Yeah.
Do you
Car
think
car
maybe
ran away?
Or maybe
Ran
since
off.
Crumb maybe knew him the best, that it
maybe,
didn't shock
maybe.
him. He
That's
knew
a
his
point.
background and knew that maybe, Voldemort's back and Karkaroff's gone. Maybe, do you think Crumb's like, ooh, maybe he's with Voldemort? Or do you think like, ooh, maybe he's like booked it?
Right.
Voldy's back again.
Stop trying to
again,
update,
again.
computer.
Voldy's back. Tell your death daddies.
It really makes me uncomfortable, and I wish you guys would stop.
I didn't say it!
I'm never gonna stop.
All right. Crumb shakes Harry's hand and Ron's hand, and Ron looks like he's having this really painful internal struggle. So after Crumb starts walking away, Ron bursts out, "Can I have your autograph?"
Oh my god. It's like the last second.
Right. And it does make Hermione smile, which is cute. And Ron does get his autograph after wanting it all year. Even though he
He's
hated
so
his guts for a
stubborn.
good chunk of it as well.
It's just jealous, and he doesn't know how to talk about his feelings
Jeez.
or deal with them.
So the weather is completely different from when they rode in on the train in September when it was all cruddy. When there's not a single cloud in the sky today. So Harry gets like one peaceful day before the start of it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they got a compartment all to themselves and they were able to talk more fully and freely than they had all week. Quote, Harry felt as though Dumbledore's speech at the leaving feast had unblocked him somehow. It was less painful to discuss what happened now. So they didn't stop talking until the lunch trolley came around, and Hermione takes out her copy of the Daily Prophet to read while they're eating. And she's like, no, Harry, don't worry. There's nothing in here about you. I've been checking every day. There's only been a small piece about the third task to say you won. It didn't even mention Cedric Diggory.
How's that for a cover-up?
And yeah, Hermione just thinks that Fudge is forcing them all to keep it
Did
quiet.
Did you do those
Crazy.
capitalizations on purpose?
No, but that's pretty great. So Harry's like, well, he's never going to be able to keep Rita Skeeter quiet, like not like a story like this. And Hermione's like, oh, Rita hasn't written anything since the third task. Ooh. I got to find it. Hold on.
You would think that they might want her to write something about it.
Well, they don't know where she's at.
She knows.
So I'm going to read from the chapter because it's just too good to not. So her voice is like oddly constrained. And she says, as a matter of fact, she added, her voice now trembling slightly, Rita Skeeter isn't going to be writing anything at all for a while. Not unless she wants me to spill the beans on her. What are you talking about? Said Ron. I found out she was listening in on private conversations, but she wasn't supposed to be coming onto the ground, said Hermione in a rush. Harry had the impression that Hermione had been dying to tell them this for days, but that she had restrained herself in light of everything else that had happened. How was she doing it? Said Harry at once. How did you find out? Said Ron, staring at her. Well, it was you really who gave me the idea, Harry. Did I? Said Harry, perplexed. How? Bugging, said Hermione happily. But you said they didn't work. Oh no, not electronic bugs, said Hermione. No, you see, Rita Skeeter, Hermione's voice trembled with quiet triumph, is an unregistered animagus. She can turn. Hermione pulled a small sealed glass jar out of her bag into a beetle. You're kidding, said Ron. You haven't. She's not. Oh, yes, she is, said Hermione happily, brandishing the jar at them. Inside were a few twigs and leaves and one large
Can
fat
you
beetle.
imagine her filling this jar? Okay, Rita, here's your little twig.
This to me is a kind of Slytherin thing to do.
Oh,
It
for
is
sure.
okay. At the end of the day, this is not right.
No, it's very mean.
It's very not right.
Yeah.
Very
This is
wrong.
like Moody in the trunk, not as vicious.
I would have done this.
Well, yeah.
But this is
nobody's debating that, Megan. You would
this
have
is
done
very
that.
much, how, what's the word I'm looking for a Slytherin trait, of I'm going to, essentially she's blackmailing her because she's like,
It's
I will tell.
self-preservation in
Yes.
a sense.
I will
because,
tell
yeah.
on you, essentially.
I mean, it's a good thing that she has like an end goal of like eventually like letting her out. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's not right.
You're my pet beetle forever.
And I will pet you.
I'll put you on the windowsill with Ron's frog spawn. So that's never... You're kidding, Ron whispered, lifting the jar to his eyes. No, I'm not, said Hermione, beaming. I caught her on the windowsill in the hospital wing. Look very closely, and you'll notice the markings around her antenna are exactly like those foul glasses she wears.
Can I
Harry-
read a quote?
Yes.
From Emily Adams in our Discord chat. You know what? She needed a timeout. At least she gave her a stick.
And a few leaves.
I
Oh,
mean,
God.
accurate.
It is. It's like an epic timeout.
So-
Goodness.
So Harry sees that she's right. She does have those markings, which is the mark of an animagus. You have something that resembles you. So then Harry remembers that there was a beetle on the statue that night when him and Ron were outside after the Yule Ball, and they heard Hagrid telling Madame Maxine about him and his mom. How you remember there's a beetle on a statue? There's lots of bugs out in the world.
It was
all right.
like called out in the book though.
It was.
So
I
like maybe
know.
that means that like Harry specifically, like there are just weird things that you'll remember
I
and
guess
it'll be
Harry's that
something
kind.
that sticks with you.
Harry's that kind of person too.
Yeah.
So. And then Hermione's like, yeah, and when at the lake, Crumb had pulled a beetle out of my hair after we had our conversation.
Oh.
And she
Intimate.
guesses correctly that Rita was on the windowsill during that divination class that Harry fell asleep and his scar hurt. And then Ron's like, well, what a Malfoy on the grounds when he was like talking into his hand. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. He was talking to Rita in his hand, which is kind of creepy that he's like holding this woman in the palm of his hand.
He's got the whole woman in his hands.
I could
He's got the
crush
whole
you.
wild woman in his hands.
So Hermione told Rita, who was buzzing angrily against the glass jar and her twigs and leaves, that she would let her out in London. So she had thought about it all. She put an unbreakable charm on the jar so she couldn't transform. And she had told her that she needed to keep her quill to herself for a whole year. Quote, see if she can't break the habit of writing horrible lies about people.
I mean, I'm just saying this right here is like setting up Hermione's BA nature for the next book because like she really implements Dumbledore's army. And like I think that like this is kind of like the beginning of her. She is still like a rule follower. She's still she's still Hermione, but
She's
she
gonna
has
play by
that,
her own rules.
she has that side to her where it's like, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone to do what I think is right. Even if that means going behind a teacher's back to form this club and do this thing that I think is really important. And this, I mean, like, Rita was savage. So, like, I don't feel bad.
But that doesn't mean she deserved it. Like,
Rita?
what I'm saying is like,
Oh,
but,
she did.
But what I'm saying is it's kind of, that's like abusive,
Yeah.
and it's not okay.
It's hard to think about that because you want
Yes.
justice.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's like one of those ethical questions that people pose
Yes.
all the time that are so difficult to answer. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, stealing is wrong, but stealing food for your family, is that right? You know what I mean? It's like, not saying it's like that, but it's like one of those types of questions, Kate.
I hear you. I was just have two things. So what did she feed her? Because she's been in there for a week. Is she,
Aphids.
like just picking little
Leaves, I would assume.
things? She has to eat the leaves.
I would assume
Probably.
she's a bug. Doesn't that what bugs eat?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
ladybugs like aphids.
And two, did she
What?
put this on her
Aphids.
resume when she became Minister for Magic?
Lived in a jar for...
No, Hermione
A day?
once kept a human being in a jar for a week.
I should be Minister of Magic. Or
I
Minister
think
of
that
Magic.
like the whole ethical question though, like, I mean, I'm not saying that yes, this is 100% okay, but at the end of the day, sometimes there are things that you have to do in uncomfortable situations
Oh, would you say for the greater good, would you?
for the greater good.
And truthfully, she's protecting her family.
No,
you know?
it's kind of like
She's
putting her in
not-
jail, right?
Right.
I'm not okay with it. I think that's something you just have to stop and think about. Just, we laugh and we joke like when we were kids and we were reading about, you know, Draco being thrown about as a ferret. Like, it's kind of, to me, it's the same situation.
I
Yeah.
don't compare these two things at all because think about the damage that she would have done had Hermione not done this.
It
Possible.
still doesn't make it okay in my mind. I'm just saying it's, you know,
It's
just
it's
gotta
one
remember,
of
it's not
those
a nice-
things.
it's not a
It's
nice
a
thing.
fuzzy line.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's hard to decide what you think because, like, if somebody does something wrong and you automatically think, okay, there needs to be like harsh punishment or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, what is appropriate? And it's like you want to do that backlash, you want to do that internal thing where, like, you know, sometimes I feel like it's human nature to want to get back at people, even though it's not right.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's hard. And clearly none of us are perfect, and she writes imperfect characters perfectly.
And
Sarah says,
I
but-
don't love Reed. I don't like her or anything like that. I think what she does is horrendous, but that doesn't, for me, justify the fact that someone did something not great to her. Just my opinion.
As Vinny said
I'm
in the
not okay with
chat,
it.
and I was thinking this too, maybe she should have just blown Rita's cover.
For sure. I think, and you know, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, she's 15.
Yeah.
And
True.
I think that like, shoot, there was something I was going to say and it was good and now I lost it. But I think basically like it's in this moment in time in Harry Potter, who would have held Rita accountable at the ministry? Who would have held her accountable?
No one.
And I think that that's what Hermione was thinking.
Probably.
And I think that like it is fair to take those things into account when judging her. Is this necessarily what Hermione should have done?
I mean,
Probably not.
you can say that about a lot of the
Yeah.
characters.
I'm not saying this makes Hermione a horrible person, a bad person, or anything. I just don't agree with what she did. But I mean, again, like we've said, she is 15, and they're
Yeah.
you know
It's-
all these.
it's-
It's just something I want people to stop and think for a second before they're like, "Haha, that's so funny that they put her in a jar." But like,
It's not
I just want you to take a step back and like just look at the situation.
It's not
That's
a
all.
Barty Crouch Jr. with a Malfoy situation. He was an adult man. You know, this is a teenage girl.
Right.
Anyways, who knew you could talk so much about a bug in a jar?
Who knew?
Well,
It's blue.
yep, it's all about me. Malfoy,
turn off
Crabbe,
the
and
mics
Goyle. Bye. So they turn up and Malfoy's like, "Oh, you're so clever girl." And you know,
I
they're
appreciate that.
Essentially, you're welcome. They're more arrogant than ever, Malfoy specifically, because you know his dude's back. And he's like asking them, are you trying not to think about it, pretending it hasn't happened? Basically talking about Voldemort being back. And Harry tells him to get out. And he says to him, you've picked the losing side, Potter. I warned you. I told you ought to choose your company more carefully. Remember when we met on the train, first day of Hogwarts? I told you not to hang around with riff-raff like this. He jerked his head at Hermione and Ron, except it says Hermione or Ron and Hermione. Too late now, Potter. They'll be the first to go now that the Dark Lord's back. Mudbloods and Muggle lovers first. Well, second. Diggory was, and he doesn't even get the word out.
Jeez, though.
And when I was reading this, I literally typed some notes, and then I had to go back and erase them because it was talking about fireworks. I'm like, someone set fireworks out. I read the little paragraph. So it seemed, because there were so many spells being thrown at him, and Crabbe and Goyle, because they're all standing right there, all at the same time. And this is what I wrote. Malfoy doesn't get to finish his sentence because someone was throwing elbows, or whatever the kids say. Is that something they say? I don't know.
Yeah,
You're gonna catch these hands, aka sending many a spell towards the 3 Slytherins. And basically, in a blink of the eye, all of the 3 boys are unconscious on the ground. So Ron, Harry, and Hermione had all sent spells that would towards them, and they weren't the only ones. So Fred comes around the corner. Or comes into the compartment. I think he literally steps on Goyle to get in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, he's like, I wanted to see what they wanted to say, before I did something. And then George comes right in after him. So we see Harry use the Furnunculus curse. I don't know if I said that right.
That was very nice.
But that's the pimple spell. And then George used jelly legs, which is, my jinx and stuff. Basically. And so they're looking at Crabbe specifically, and they're like, ooh, those 2 probably shouldn't have been mixed, because it looked like he had sprouted little tentacles all over his face.
Basically, he got jelly legs on his face as pimples.
Yeah. And I tried to see, it didn't really say in the paragraph if they were, wiggling, but in my mind, they are.
Same. I've always pictured that. That's so
why
weird.
would they be still? No, those suckers are jello.
Literally. Get it? Because they're tentacles?
Why would they be still? Tentacles move.
Anyways, they didn't leave the boys there because they wanted to essentially get them out of their compartment and close the door. So Ron, Harry, and George, they moved them into the corridor by kicking, rolling, and pushing them. So then, they leave them out there. They start playing exploding snaps. And after a few rounds, Harry realizes they never really got the answer of who they were blackmailing that and all that stuff. And so they ask, and they're like, oh, it really doesn't matter now. We gave up, yada da da. But anyways, it was Ludo Bagman. What? Anyways, it turns out Ludo paid them in leprechaun gold after winning the bet during the Quidditch World Cup. They're like, what? What does that matter? They're like, well, again, with leprechaun gold, it disappears. So by the next morning, it was gone. And so they really were just trying to get the money that he owed them. And Hermione's like, oh, it must have been a mistake, whatever. And they were like, well, we thought so too. So they tried to get a hold of him, and he kept making excuses and really making it difficult for them to get their money back. And then he kept they kept at it, and they kept seeing him because he kept coming to Hogwarts the whole tournament and everything. And he finally started getting nasty with them, and he was telling them they're too young to gamble. And then they finally were like, then just give us our original money back. And he refused to give their money back. And then it turns out anyways that Ludo is in big trouble with the goblins. Mm-hmm. So at the World Cup, he was cornered by a gang of them. And they basically took all the money that he had on him, and it still wasn't enough to cover what he owed them.
Do you remember we saw that happening whenever the trio was running through the forest, just calling back to earlier in the book?
So Ludo basically doesn't even have 2 galleons to rub together. I love that saying. And he even tried to bet on Harry to win, for the tournament, so he could pay off some of his debts to the goblins. But they basically said, because Harry technically didn't win, he drew,
he tied,
him. It was a draw between him and Cedric. And the goblins are very, they could be very tricky. So, with the exact wordings, they're like, no, you said that Harry had to win outright. So it had to be completely just Harry winning for Ludo to win. Since it wasn't, Ludo has to pay all the money back.
Makes me think of Grip Hook with the sword and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cunning.
So he ran instead. Maybe he's off with Karkaroff.
Everybody's running.
Yeah. hide your kids, hide your wife.
I was gonna say that.
The goblins are after us. And so like Harry's like, oh my gosh, it now makes so much sense why Ludo was like so intent on helping me to win and like all this other things. And like, I get it now, like looking back.
Yeah.
And so then the train is finally pulling into the station. Harry is kind of sad because really he's like, he could just stay on that train for the whole summer, you know, with his friends and not have to go and really think about all the stuff that has happened and go back to the Dursleys because, you know, they're gross. So like everyone starts getting their things. They're climbing over the boys in the corridor because nothing happened with them. They're just still unconscious lying on the ground. But Harry holds back and then he asks friend George to hold back as well. So he takes all of his winnings from the tournament like out of his luggage and he thrusts it into George's hands. And he's like, here, I want you to like take the money. I don't want it. And I'm going to read you what George says because it's important and I enjoy their conversation.
Tell me.
So he says, you're mental, said George, trying to push it back at Harry. No, I'm not, said Harry. You take it and get inventing. It's for the joke shop. He is mental, Fred said in an almost awed voice. Listen, said Harry firmly, if you don't take it, I'm throwing it down the drain. I don't want it and I don't need it, but I could do with a few laughs. We could all do with a few laughs. I've got a feeling we're going to need them more than usual before long. Harry, said George weakly. Yep, I don't know why. That just made me think of something else. Sorry. Weighing the money bag in his hands. There's got to be 1,000 galleons in here. Yeah, said Harry, grinning. Think about how many canary creams that is. The twins stared at him. Just don't tell your mom where you got it, although she might not be too keen or be so keen for you to join the ministry anymore, come to think of it. But that reminds me, like, with our conversation with James Payton, you know, we're talking about like when his dad died and how the like a part of the reason he like went into acting was to like help people like laugh through those hard times. And I know for me, with sad things like going on, I like to laugh and I like to find the joy in things. So I like that Harry's like, we're gonna need laughter in our lives like more than anything. So, you know, get to joking, man.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, yeah, she probably doesn't want you to work at the ministry because it's corrupt.
Well, honestly, like that's a good thing because
Yeah.
they would have never been suited for
No.
ministry work.
And so Fred starts again. He's like, Harry, Fred began, but Harry pulled out his wand. Dude's not messing around.
No, he's not.
Look, he said flatly, take it or I'll hex you. I know some good ones now. Just do me one favor, okay? Buy Ron some different dress robes and say they're from you.
Honestly, though, but like Harry is really, obviously he's pulling out his wand. He's really serious about getting this money out of his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every time he feels it and sees it, it's like a reminder. Yeah.
And it, you know,
Poke.
I really like the idea of the joke shop and bringing light to people in such a dark time. And it's like a reminder that you need to laugh. You know?
And honestly, when you walk by it in Orlando, you can't do anything but smile. Like
Yeah.
walk by it, see it from down the
Yeah.
street, go inside it. Everything is bright and it's orange and it's green and it's pink and I just love it.
It's happy.
It
you know?
literally is a beacon of light.
Yeah. So then Harry leaves the compartment. He's stepping over Crabbe, Malfoy, and Goyle, who are all still covered in their hex marks. And I thought, like, right as I'm like, gosh, I wonder, like, what happened to them? Like, I'm sure their families, specifically Luscious Malfoy, was probably a little peeved.
Well, Malfoy gets Harry back.
I guess it's true. But,
Breaks his nose.
True.
Puts him under his stinking cloak.
yeah. It's just, you know, and I'm thinking, like, how come, like, no one got in trouble, like, doing spells on the train? But I guess there's no, like, real adults except for
I
the
bet
lady.
you it's because the trolley witch's fingers got, like tied together.
Oh, my gosh.
She's gross.
She's gross and nasty.
So they get off the train. He sees Uncle Vernon waiting for him, and Mrs. Weasley is kind of standing near him. She hugs Harry tightly and tells him to keep in touch. And she tells him, she's like, I think Dumbledore's going to let you come stay, like, later in the summer. So Harry says goodbye to his friends. Ron claps him on his back. I just wanted to put that in because then I talk about Hermione kisses his cheek. She's never done that before. And she's, like, worried about him because she's a good friend. And then the twins thank him again, and he gives them a wink before heading towards his uncle, getting into the car. And I wrote, because I really like this, There is no point worrying yet, he told himself as he got into the back of the Dursleys' car. As Hagrid had said, what would come, and he would have to meet it when it did. I said, "'Tis the end of Goblet."
That
is
quote right there carries us all the way to 7.
This has been Audible. No, you guys.
The end of another book.
The end of a book. The end of a book.
I feel like we've been on Goblet for 80 years, and I'm kind of over
It's
it. I
been
need
80
new material.
What year is it?
Literally, though, it's been over a year because I finished this book last year.
We did actually begin Goblet, I think, around the holidays. I think it's been almost exactly a year.
Because I finished
Or
reading.
no, didn't we start it after July?
I
Yes.
don't know.
Wasn't it
Look on
August
Yes.
last
Look
year?
on the podcast
Yes.
app.
It's been over a year because when Bridget
they're
and I
not going to
went,
get any shorter.
when we went to
That is true.
Not much.
when we went to Florida last December, it was like the second weekend of December, maybe the first, when I finished reading the reread for myself of Goblet in Hogsmeade
Oh, yeah.
a year ago. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about The Prisoner. No, we're not. Who we're talking about?
What?
We're talking about some orders of some phoenixes.
The Phoenix Eye.
Fox going to the drive-thru.
Do you think he wants chicken nuggets or is it like cannibalism?
Spicy.
Cannibalism.
Oh,
chicken
spicy
nuggets.
chicken nuggets. I'm just saying. Or that new sandwich from Arby's. I don't know.
Oh my God.
He could be a vegan.
Sponsor us, Arby's.
He just might want potato.
That'd be
is
great.
great.
Did you get me mozzarella
Yes, I left
sticks?
them upstairs. I warmed them up. Okay. Lightning
Told her
bolt
I wanted
round.
Jeez, that was like a whirlwind.
I have a lightning bolt.
You have a bolt?
You have a ball.
Bolt. I got one
Bolt.
lightning bolt.
Bout me.
One word to describe this book, and no one can repeat a word. Tiffany, go.
Why does she get to go first?
Because
What
she
if it's a
always goes first.
hyphenated thing?
I'll allow it.
Turning point.
That's not hyphenated.
It is now.
Katie,
You're
go.
So no, I
Meg.
go. Well, I'm not ready. No, I'm kidding. I will come up with one. Change.
That's what I was gonna say. Get out.
No more mozzarella sticks for you.
Yeah, I'm eating them all.
What?
She won't.
I know.
I want to say a phrase and I can't.
I'll allow it.
I wanna say the beginning of the end.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's good.
They're all hyphenated.
Yeah.
It's one big hyphen. I'm going to say 2 words because Tiffany basically said 2 words.
I'm the only
It's
one. that
hyphenated.
listened. I'm the only one that listened to your question.
Storm brewing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Storm a
A
Bruin.
Bruin.
Oh, it's a Bruin.
There's an apostrophe.
Actually, do you know what? That was my mascot in grade school, a Bruin.
That's
Like
great.
Bruins. We were like St. Angela the Bruins.
I got a girlfriend.
I don't. I'm single. I don't even have a boyfriend. I got no friends.
Well,
All right.
Yeah.
because you say stuff like a Bruin.
As Emma Watson would say, I'm self-partnered.
That's right.
I
As you should be.
I read it
love
and I was like,
that.
I identify with that.
Yeah,
1,000%.
because honestly, not everybody wants somebody. And if you're cool with like doing you and being awesome,
I'm too busy to have anybody in my life.
you do you, boo. All right, take it to the Discord.
Oh, y'all have questions.
I
mean, as well.
Oh, I got one. How do you feel in one word, not hyphenated, no phrases, about starting order soon?
happy.
Excited.
Apprehensive.
Ooh, Tiffany.
Ready.
I like it.
I
That
had-
was easier.
I had 4 books. I'm ready to go.
I am just anxious about talking about Umbridge, though. Like,
Honestly, I feel like we're going to have more heated discussions, not necessarily heated with us, but we just get irritated with her so much.
She's a terrible person.
So- But just doing what we always do, we're going to make jokes.
Jet.
Because do you like jokes?
I'm gonna have to get really good at being vaguely political.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. Because we don't
But-
do that.
People will know what I mean. They'll know what I'm saying.
Read between the lines.
Dad. All right.
Let's talk about the fact that it's gonna be.
May.
I was like, what?
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be a freaking sad book.
Yeah, no, it's not great for the emotions.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Jeez Louise.
Letus Lapidus.
Why didn't the Phoenix order something happy?
You get a
Oh,
happy
I
meal.
thought you were telling a joke. I was gonna be like, why?
I mean, it was a joke.
Because he
To
didn't.
get to the other side. To get to the next Dumbledore.
Welcome to the other side.
All right, let's
Hello
do these
from the other
questions.
side.
Yes, we have to do these
Okay.
questions.
Emily Adams, what would you have done with Rita?
I would have done exactly what Hermione did.
Well, who would you, like, if you're going to rat her out, but, like, you go to the ministry, she's working for the ministry pretty much. Like, who do you tell? Dumbledore. I answered my own question.
So I guess like I probably would have thought to put her in a jar and keep her there.
I
if
would
I'm
not
being
have.
honest.
I would
I
have.
would've done
I would
that.
have went right to Dumbledore because I've been like, I'm a child and I can't do this.
But I would have outed her, like, because Hermione like kind of just trusts her word and lets her go. And,
Well,
like,
do you
I'm
think
not like
Hermione
that.
had a
Well,
bigger picture in mind
I
with
think-
writing for the Quibbler and all of that? Like, we could use her. I
Yeah.
might need her
No.
later.
I think that if you think about
No.
we have that what I'm gonna say,
No.
I'm gonna say it like this. So we
Okay.
have that section where she's like she's not gonna write anything for it at least a year.
Right.
Well, then they're talking about Ludo and they're like, oh, he gave us leprechaun gold that disappeared. And she goes, oh, do you think it was a mistake? I think she's too trusting of and thinks too
Yeah.
highly of some people, and is like, oh no, no one would do that because she's not a mean person. She's not mean spirited. She, I think, wants to see the best in people, and so she wants to think. And that's unfortunately a naive thing to think. You know what I mean? Not everyone is nice. Not everyone has good intentions. Not everyone is out there looking for the best in people. You know what I mean?
That's
And-
like-
and
thankfully
Rita's not a nice
Rita-
person. We know this. I don't like her at all. I'm not saying all of those things before, whatever. What I'm thinking is she's just hoping that she's going to stay true to her word, which she may or may not.
Thankfully, she does, which
Yes,
is
she
good.
does.
But she could not have, and I think that I
Yeah.
would have been very focused on not trusting her based on the situations that went.
And you know Hermione
But-
checked every single Daily Prophet to make sure that
Yeah.
it was a calendar year.
But maybe she didn't have to be that trusting because I don't know what the repercussions are for being an unregistered animagus. Maybe it's serious.
It could be.
Black?
Well, why don't you
Oh,
ask him?
Really?
Yeah.
Is it serious?
Hey!
He would know.
You know what I mean? Like, she might lose her job that way, so...
He might chew her. We don't know.
It's true.
Get it? Because it's serious.
Like I burn.
I feel though like I'm a clumsy person. I probably would have smashed her by accident.
That's what I was going to say.
Just sit on her.
Like, you know when
That's
Hermione goes to
murder.
grab her, like I would have accidentally like,
That is
and then I'd have a woman in my hands.
it's murder.
Would she have turned back into Rita?
I would have.
This is the
assumed so.
question.
But it's different with a teacup turning into a dog, vice versa kind of thing.
Is it though?
Yes.
In
it
my
is.
mind, it is because they're two living things. Where like if you turn a teacup into a dog or another whatever,
It
and
was
the
never a
thing
living thing to start with.
perishes, I would assume it would turn it. I don't know. That's a whole discussion.
Well, no
for
one
another
knows
day.
because Dear Joe didn't answer.
She stopped taking my phone calls.
She told me that she was done with you.
Yeah, I bet.
Next question.
Isaiah wants us to give Sammy,
Hey, Sammy.
his boyfriend,
Yo,
a shout
Sammy.
out.
What up?
Oh, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy!
All right.
Does he
Mara-
make Sammys for you?
Oh,
Oh.
Sammy making a Sammy.
Mara Nona T says, what do you think happened to Ludo after this book?
He hid in shame. I don't know.
Honestly, though,
Maybe
he
the goblins got
probably-
him.
Got by the goblin.
Got by the gobs.
He probably didn't end up well, you know?
No, he was
Because
probably like just
if he didn't get himself, you have a gambling addiction, and
yeah.
Yeah,
If,
he had
you know,
problems.
unfortunately, if you don't get yourself help,
Yeah.
which I don't think he thought he had a problem.
Agreed.
So,
I'm going to combo these next two from They Call Me AK and Mia Gilly.
Sure.
So what would you have done with the money, and what would you have done with the money if Fred and George refused to take the money? So it's kind of the same question.
I would have put it in their bank accounts.
I would have just, if they
I would have
literally wouldn't take it, some kind of charity. Like, get it out of my hands.
The
I would have
Hogwarts,
literally tried to set up
fund.
like a fund
Yeah.
for them to open up their joke shop. Like, here's the money. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to do something. Or, like you said, a charity. I would not keep it. I would give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Yeah, I would. I mean, toss it in the lake, man.
I wouldn't do that. There's people out there.
If
that
you
need the
literally could give it away to people you knew.
money. I would
or
give it
you-
away to a charity.
Yeah, but Harry doesn't strike me as someone knowing where to go to give it to a charity.
But he could ask Dumbledore.
Do you guys remember that episode?
Dumbledore's not talking to him anymore.
Of Hey Arnold, where Arnold and his friend literally the person throws they're dressed up as like a banana and someone else.
And the strawberry.
Yes.
Yeah.
They throw it out.
No,
the
I
window.
remember very
Yeah.
well.
That's what that made me think of when he's like, he's just gonna throw it out and throw it in the trash.
It's got banana shoes.
Oh, that's a good show.
They Call Me AK also asked, what joke, candy, chocolate, or gag would you come up with?
That's like a question I have to really think about.
Ooh,
I
would
know.
probably do a chocolate that looked super delicious. Like, I've told this story where I brought baking chocolate into my grade school and had people try and told them it was the best chocolate I've ever had in my entire life. And the people would take a bite and they were disgusted. Because if you've ever had baking chocolate, it doesn't taste great. Because it's not sweetened and like all of those other things. And it's not like, I don't think it's even milk chocolate.
I know.
I would do something like that.
It's a fart blanket. So like you put it down and you automatically like smell the fart.
Oh my God.
Fart blanket. By Whammo.
Mia looked it up. We started on November 18th, 2018.
Goodness gracious.
And Isaiah's boyfriend is confused, and he said, am I on camera?
You are. We can
You guys
see
didn't
you.
say what kind of joke things you're going to do.
I would.
Because I honestly, I don't know.
I don't know if it'd be a joke, but it'd be cool if you could like eat a piece of candy and turn into an animal for a short period of time. So you wouldn't have to be like an anime.
Ooh,
How
a piece of
long?
candy.
How long?
Depends on how much
Minute.
candy you ate.
A minute.
It would depend on it would depend on how many you
too
ate.
short.
It would
Like
just be like a bunch
one
of-
candy per minute. So if you popped like 10 of them, then it would be 10 minutes.
How many come in a bag?
I don't know.
Ask Fred and George.
This is your candy. Tell me what you know.
100. 100 in a bag.
That's a lot of candy.
How many galleons is this? That seems like some
1,000.
epic magic.
5. I don't know.
They don't even know. 7.
Ooh.
We shall move on to the fan story.
I thought there was another question.
I know, but we have to.
They have to
I
go.
can't get them all, which is sad.
Can't catch 'em all.
I'm
Is
sorry,
that a
guys. Usually
Pokemon
try to go
thing?
through them all.
Pokemon things. Fan story.
Yes, fan story. But if you really have a question that you super want us to answer, email us. And we
Email
will.
At
us.
www.net.
Yeah, for sure.
Dot
.com.
com.
My apologies, seriously.
Go. Fan story.
Fan story from Jessica Burns.
Woo woo.
Hi, ladies. First off, thank you for this amazing podcast. I'm a relatively new Swisher and also a relatively new Potter fan, but wanted to share my Potter story. I read the first 3 books when they originally came out and loved them. However, I was young and the Goblet Goblet was just a little too long and a little too dark to really hold my interest, and I never finished it. I saw the first couple movies when they came out, but then decided not to see anymore. Everyone always says that the books are better than the movies, so I kept saying that I would go back and read the books, eventually. Fast forward about 20 years, and Harry Potter had sadly fallen off my radar. Luckily for me, my boyfriend has always been a Potter fan, and when Fantastic Beasts 2 was coming out, he was shocked to find out that I had never actually finished the Potter series, books or movies. We made that our top priority. He wanted to see it in theaters, so being on a time crunch, I watched all the movies first. But it was enough to send me down the rabbit hole hard. I found Pottermore. I'm a Hufflepuff.
Pottermore, not to Hufflepuff.
I'm a Hufflepuff. And Patronus is a beagle.
Aw.
And my wand is Hawthorne Wood Dragon Heartstring Core, 11 3/4 inches. I still needed more Potter in my life, so I started looking for podcasts as well. I knew for sure that I was meant to be a Swisher when in the first few episodes, I discovered there was another Hufflepuff out there who was equally obsessed with Remus Lupin as I am. Woo woo, that's me!
Yeah.
He has been my favorite character throughout the entire series, and nobody gets it, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. Girl, I got you! Side note, oh, I'm not going to skip this part because I liked it when I read this part, but I didn't read that last part and I got really excited.
Whoa.
Side note, feel free to skip the next part if my story's too long, but I think it's so cool, so I figured I'd share with you at least. I'm not kidding when I say I went down the rabbit hole. So bored at work one day, I took a which Harry Potter couple are you and your significant other quiz to pass the time. I only took it once, I swear, and was so happy that my boyfriend, a Gryffindor, and I, Hufflepuff, got Lupin and Tonks. Reading the description gave me goosebumps. Both of us were hesitant to get close in the beginning. He has dealt with depression, and I've dealt with anxiety and an eating disorder. So both of us had those feelings of, I don't deserve them, they'll leave me if they find out. So similar to Lupin. And 2.5 years later, we're still together, still in love, still best friends, and saving up to buy our first home.
Awesome.
It was such a silly little quiz, but it made the story more relatable, and it made my love of the Harry Potter series, and more specifically Remus, that much stronger. I'm now in the process of reading all the books and catching up on your podcast. I'm just about caught up and should be able to listen to the next book. Order.
Oh, wow,
right
this
along
is
with you every
recent.
week.
Nice.
Yes. I love getting the little details that I may not have picked up, and you girls make me laugh out loud every episode. Your podcast is such a great way for me to experience the books. Thanks so much for everything that you do, ladies.
Oh,
Thank you,
I
Jessica.
love that.
Thank you, Jessica.
I
you want to hit me
hope
up
you
with
get your
Remus talk?
house.
Bring it.
Whose Remus?
I don't know.
What were we going to say, Tiffany?
No, I hope they get their house.
Yes,
Yeah.
good luck. Best of luck to you.
Yes.
All right, so you can follow us on Facebook at Swish and Flick Podcast and on Instagram and Twitter at Swish Flickcast. You can join us on Patreon to be a part of the Discord channel that is so much fun every episode. That is at patreon.com/Swish Flickcast. What?
You just said, you're like, it's so much fun.
Like, a lot.
It's more fun than we sound right now.
I like
We have
I
a
didn't
great
think that I
time.
sounded like that.
It's cool, I guess.
Anyway, you can also check out our website at swishflickcast.com, and I guess that's it. Right?
Are you excited about that part?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so find us there. On those all those places.
Swishflickcast.net.
It's .com.
Oh, swishflickcast.net. It's .com. Also, I did not make that up, so for people that think that we made it up,
Who thinks that?
someone like made it seem, I was like, that's not us. Like, I got it from
no, that is not copyrighted by Switch.
homestarrunner.net. It's .com.
So I have been, I don't know, teaching.
What? You're a
Struggling.
teacher?
Yeah. No, it's been kind of rough lately. I'm not going to lie. But anyways, I don't want to talk about that because I want to talk about the book that I've been reading. I've been reading Thrawn, which is really, really good. Really enjoying it. Getting really excited for The Rise of Skywalker that is coming up in December. We also, yeah.
Do you want to talk about what we're going to do for it? What did we decide, you and I, what are we going to wear?
Oh, we have, do you want me to tell them?
Yeah.
Oh, we got these Ewok robes for Christmas. And so we're going to wear, because we're going early.
We're going at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so we're going to wear our Ewok robes, which
That's
are
awesome.
super thick.
Nice.
And we just got new flooring in the dining room and the living room and all of that jazz. Nope, not in the living room. I don't know what I'm saying.
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Dining room.
Dining room, kitchen, steps, and all that, which is like a huge deal because it was like really bad before. It was a laminate that was not good. But I do want to shout out a new podcast that my friend started. I also work with her. It is called Just Keep Rolling Podcast, and they have a really cool logo of a phoenix, and they just started. So what they're doing is a book to movie comparison, like a reread chapter, and then talking about what the movie put in and how they changed it and stuff like that. Ellen, who's one of the hosts, she actually has been like made movies before, so it's really cool to hear her perspective, and they have a couple of episodes out right now, so you should go listen to them.
That's cool.
She's also a super cool person.
She's very nice. And actually, we didn't even talk about this at all. We are going to Ironton this weekend.
Yeah, and it'll be long past when this comes out.
But we get to hang out with our friends, so we'll talk about that whenever our friends, Chris Rankin and James Spade and Nessa. No, but we're really excited to see them again. And I want to say congratulations to Lauren because Lauren gets to work with dolphins because she's amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was, I read that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Lauren, I love you.
Katie and I are really busy, but it's like
That's an
a
understatement.
good busy,
Super busy.
but just very busy. We're doing a lot of design work, which is good because we really want to freelance more. So that is fun. So you can follow us on Whimsy Creative Design if you want.
You got something you want designed? You hit us up.
Yeah, we do like branding. We do invitations.
I would like a Dear Joe
we do-
t-shirt.
Excuse you.
Draw it out and then we'll do it.
I can't draw that.
You can draw.
And then also you can listen to our other podcast called Friends Watching Friends.
Mm-hmm.
We are 7 episodes deep in season 1 of Friends.
That's almost the whole season, isn't it?
No.
It's a very
9
short
by the time
season,
we-
right?
Oh, I think
Did
it
you
might
guys
be.
realize what Tiffany and I were doing in Boston with the vestibule?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry for your ears. I apologize.
I don't think so.
I don't remember what you said.
Yes, just
Yeah,
watch
we just
that.
that's the last episode we watched.
We literally were doing that the whole thing. We're so annoying. God.
We were doing it. We were the place that we stayed had a little vestibule. So I'm like, look, vestibule. Put Chandler. No, it's put Joey on the phone. Put Joey on the phone.
Yeah.
And then he's like says it perfectly.
He's stuck in a
Have you-
ATM vestibule with Joe Goodacre. Goodacre.
Good
Yeah.
acre.
Are you guys having fun?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
really
a lot
like
of
it.
fun.
Do you like the show?
Yeah, I do.
Is Ross still your favorite?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Who's your favorite, Kate?
Chandler.
He's the best.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
love Chandler.
I know.
Don't you know that he is me? I am him. Just wait to
Chandler's
get to
great.
the later episodes. There's specific things that he says, and I'm like,
Chandler
it's me.
is perfection.
I still like Ross.
I don't not
Um,
like him. He's just not my favorite.
I enjoy Ross.
I like Ross. I also like Chandler. And I like Monica. Honestly, I like all of them. But
They
for-
all have really
Yeah, they're all-
likable
I mean, they're all
qualities.
good.
Yeah.
And let's talk about, because Thanksgiving is coming up. Every Thanksgiving, I go and I watch every single one of the Thanksgiving
They're
episodes.
doing that at a theater.
Yeah, they're so good.
I
They
can't do
are.
it.
No, you can't.
It's so
But
good. I
we
love 'em.
might actually, by the time Thanksgiving comes, we'll probably. Is there a Friendsgiving episode in the first season? There's one in every season,
Every
isn't
season.
there?
No, is it every season? Because the first season's very short, like most.
Let me look it up.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to watch one. And then Katie, do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my friend Jess. You guys all know Jess from the Swish group. She started a new podcast, and
Yeah.
it's called the Horror Crux Podcast.
Listen to us shouting out pods.
Right? And she's doing like a really cool twist on Potter, but like also bringing in like Wiccan and like I don't even know. Like she's done so much research on this. You just need to go check it out.
Yeah.
It's a really cool twist on Potter.
We love you, Jess.
Yes.
They do. You'll come up to it. It's the episode 9 is the first Thanksgiving.
Oh,
they
we're
have
like 2
together.
away.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. I mean, I like all of the Thanksgiving episodes. So yeah,
Well, the show is great.
yeah, I enjoy. Well, it didn't. Some parts of it did not age well, but like I watch it and be like, okay, I realize like today wouldn't fly and it's not alright, but
Correct.
I still enjoy some of the content.
Right.
What are you up to, Sarah?
Yeah, what are you
Nothing.
doing?
School.
Sarah just survived an illness.
Oh my gosh, I was sick.
It's funny now.
I had the stomach flu, so that was not fun. On a day that I like had 2 tests, I had a test in my lab and my lecture, which did my worst on my lecture or my lab test, but it wasn't. I still got a B, so it's not that bad. And then I didn't do great on my. I still got a B in my lab or my lecture. I got my B on both of them. Which is fine. But like when I looked over my thing, I'm like, I should have known like the answers to this, but I just wasn't in my right headspace.
right.
By the time this comes out, school is almost over for this semester. I literally have two lab quizzes left and a final, or one and a final.
Well, good
And
luck
then,
to you, ma'am.
Yeah, 4 weeks left of lab, and then 5 weeks left of lecture,
Cool.
and then I'll be off, and then I'll have ANP2, so this will all start again in January. But But so far, so good.
Yeah.
That's all I'm dealing with. I literally have no time to breathe because I work 3 days a week. I go to school. I watch my niece, and I have no free time. It's my life. Literally, I think my next free Saturday is January. No, yeah, January, whatever the third weekend in January is. That's my next free Saturday.
Yeah. But
You
the good
got
thing
this.
about that is like, yes, life always stays busy and there's always something that comes up, but you know that one thing won't always be there, you know?
Yeah. It's like sucks that it's going to be like years of my life in school. But realistically, once I'm done with my associates, I'm going to have to go back and get my bachelor's anyways.
Yeah.
And then I probably won't stop it there. If I look at my family, all of my aunts that are nurses have gone back to school, including my mother. So
Schooling's good if you can go.
I'm going to be in school for the rest of my life.
You're a goofball. So coming up after this is
The book to
book
movie
to movie comparison.
We've got a couple random ones coming. We've
Yeah.
got, so we're not going to start Order of the Phoenix until the new year.
Right.
So you guys are going to get some different types of episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the past 2 Decembers that we've gone through. Literally, we are people with other things going on, so we have to take a break.
Yeah.
Right? But
still
you're
gonna get
still
episodes
getting
every weekend.
you're still getting an
and
episode
some of
every
them
week.
will be all 4 of us because they're previously recorded things that we haven't put out for you yet. So
But we're gonna do an O'Malley episode and a Petrus episode.
mm-hmm.
And so that's just kind of for your brain to think about as far as our little pod goes. And then in the new year, we'll get rolling with the new...
We decided, so we're not doing this technically this year. We are not doing a Swishmas because we don't have time for that.
None of us do. So we're going to do one in January, right?
The first weekend, correct, is what
Think
we
so.
decided.
Yeah.
And that's when we're going to do the first episode of Order of the Phoenix.
Which kind of makes me...
Live from Cleveland is Order of the Phoenix.
So at first I was like really sad about not having Swishmas in December because it's Swishmas. But then I thought
it's Women's Christmas.
we can keep Christmas,
the Christmas cheer.
going. Yeah.
Literally,
So-
it's Women's Christmas is the first Saturday after, or it might be the
Well,
first
that's
Sunday.
perfect then.
Oh, okay. Well, here we are.
Yeah.
It's our Christmas.
It's Swishmas.
This year, Christmas will be ours.
I love it.
All right. I only get to say this so often. So that concludes this book. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just with my voice.
I have a wife, Mike.
These are facts. All right, Mike.
There was supposed to be something else after that, but my mind went blank. So.
It was
I have a wife, Mike. I have a wife, Mike.
Mike is rude.
Mike is super rude. Super rude. My wife. Hey,
Hey.
take a moment. Look at me.
This is the end.
This is the end of Goblet.
That just made me kind of
I'm
sad.
so excited.
I'm excited, but it's also weird.
This is the turning point.
This is.
It's gonna get sadder
like in
from
the
here.
series, this is the turning
This
point.
is it, and everything's gonna relate back to this book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Allegedly. What did we just read?